Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. Today I'm going to show you a wreath that I've showed you before, but in a Facebook Live that I uploaded 2 years ago. This is one of my most popular wreaths here on YouTube, but it's also a big seller for me. This one sells very well all year round for me. So I wanted to share kind of a condensed version of it and the tips and tricks that I've learned since making it originally. So let's get started. All right, so I'm going to do a wreath that when I first started with YouTube, I had a few produced videos. My son helped me with them, but then I was on my own. And what I would do is I would do Facebook Lives on my Facebook page. If you're not following me, it's called Julie's Wreath Boutique. Link is in the description box below. And I would do a Facebook Live. If you're familiar with Facebook Lives, you know, you can't edit them. I guess I could edit them now, but back then I didn't know how to. And I thought, you know what, I want to give you a refresh on this video. This is a video that's very popular on my channel. I think it has like 340,000 views on it, but I wanted to kind of do it in a simpler form for you. And I also wanted to show you some of the things that I improve with time. Any project that you do, sometimes you improve maybe the techniques or maybe you tweak how you do it. So that's what I'm going to show you in this tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our poly burlap. And I am going to cut 20 pieces of the white 10-inch poly burlap. All the links will be in the description box below, and you can find this at the Wreath Shop and at Trendy Tree. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut in between the lines to get started here. And basically, this is a glass cutting table underneath and then my rotary mat. Now, when you use a wood burner, you should definitely wear a mask. It's very important. So what I want to do is I'm going to cut out 20 pieces of at 10 inches each because we're going to need this for our wreath. And then I'm going to show you the next kind of quick tip for this wreath that I have developed since making that original wreath. Okay, so the next part, originally I would have had you cut these separately, but what I did develop in the last year of 2020, I developed the fuse petal technique. And so what I'm going to do is you're going to take your mesh here, your poly burlap. I'm going to make it the base layer here. And this can't be done with every fabric mesh, but it can be done with this fabric mesh. I'm going to use the same black and white fabric 10-inch mesh here. And basically I'm going to put it over top of my white poly burlap. And you can tell that the poly burlap is just a tad longer than the fabric mesh, and that's kind of typical when they're manufacturing. Sometimes they're not just exactly 10 inches, sometimes they're over 10 inches. So it's just kind of, you know, what you get is what you get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut through, and it's kind of hard to see, but I'm going to try to cut through the line because the poly burlap has a pretty straight line. I'm going to keep with the poly burlap line. You might not be able to see it on the screen as much as I can, but basically what that does, because we can do this, it fuses the poly burlap and the fabric mesh together. So why do I do this? Because it saves me 2 steps, really. It saves you the step of having to cut each of these individually, and then it saves you the step of combining them when you make your petal. So what I'm going to do now is I need 20 of these petals. So 20 of these fused petals. I will cut into a second roll of the white poly burlap, but I will only use about, probably about 10 pieces of that. So I'm going to cut these and we will be back and I will show you the next step. Okay, so the first step we're going to do is we're going to talk about the frame. I know that these are kind of hard to find right now, but listen, the 10-inch wreath frame is making a comeback, and the Wreath Shop and Trendy Tree, and I heard Mel's Crafty Mojo, I think it is, she has them as well, but I'm not sure exactly when the Wreath Shop and Trendy Tree will have these, but they are being made. I'm hoping January you'll have them in stock. So I'm going to make it in a 10-inch wreath frame. If you still have some of these, great. The company that used to make them went out of business, sadly, but we're getting them back. Okay, so that's the great. This size, I love this size because it makes a great flower for your door. It's a good size to ship, and I would put this in a 20 by 20 by 4 box, and you could pretty much ship it anywhere in the US for a very reasonable rate. So what are we going to do? We're going to start on the middle section. Remember, it's bar 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to start in the middle. We're going to do these cross sections at the end. You probably heard my elephants upstairs. That was a big one. But we're going to put 2 whites in between each of these sections. So we're going to put the zip tie right there. I'm going to take my piece of poly burlap. The finished side is at the bottom. The finished side is at the top. This way it keeps all of our direction of our edges and finishes in the same direction. We're going to meet in the middle. We're going to gather, flip it over, and then slightly put the left petal over the right. You're going to place it on bar 2 right here and attach. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to just put your zip tie, just lay it right there. It'll lay just fine, and wait for your petal. Flip it and place it right in there. Now, I like to have this finished edge over top of the next petal. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go and I'm going to repeat the same thing on this. I'm going to put 2 here, 2, 2, and 2, and then I'll be right back. Let's go to step 2. Step 2 is going to add our fused petals at the brackets. So all you're going to do is you're going to take a zip tie and make sure you're on each side of this bracket. Take one of your fused petals that are already fused together, and you're going to make the same petal. Now these do get a little bit thicker because they have 2 pieces of mesh, so just be prepared for that. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do for my cross brackets, I'm going to put one of these petals. Now, if you want to use a 12-inch wreath frame, use a 12-inch wreath frame. It's going to be the same process, but you're going to need some extra petals, and you're going to need to do maybe an extra middle. I'm not sure. It just kind of depends on how big the center you make. Now, I did not mention that I did put the plastic canvas. You guys always ask, what is this? This is the stuff that our grandparents or our moms used to use to make coasters and those tissue paper holders when I was a kid. You'll find it in the yarn and the embroidery section at your craft store. This is the 5 count, so it's a little bit larger than the normal 7 count. So I'm going to just do this, put 5 of these petals in, and I'll be right back. So we have the first row of our petals done. So now we're going to work on bar 3. Now on this one, we are not going to put anything on this cross bracket. We are mainly just going to work in between the section. What we're going to do is we're going to put 1 white here, 1 white here, and then 1 black and white on top. So let me show. I just put my zip tie and I let it sit, make my petal, put it down in there. I kind of like stick it in between the 2 previous petals on the first row. Okay. Then I skip over the center one and I'm going to go over here and do 1 more. And then I'm going to go back, and on top of each of these will be our accent petal. I guess that's pretty much what this is. This is our accent petal. Flip it over and add it. I'm going to repeat this process 4 times because we have 5 sections in this wreath. And then I will show you the final layer of petals. Okay, so the next step is our final layer of petals. And on that final layer, all we are going to use is our accent petal. And usually I use about 10 of these, 9 to 10. It depends on how you space them. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work within that canvas mesh. I pretty much go about 3/4 of an inch in. And I just place my zip tie. So it's about an inch to 3/4 to an inch, just about. I take my petal. We do the same thing. Remember, finish side up, finish side down. We make our petal, we flip it, and then we just place it on the ring here. All right. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to put another one in, and it's going to have about 2 to 3 squares in between. And then I take this one and I go over top of that one so that that finished edge is what is shown, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go all the way around, and then we'll make the middle. Okay, so now we've got the flower base done. I'm going to show you how to quickly make the center for your wreath. I use this roping from Hobby Lobby. I've been using this for years now. I started this probably 2 or 3 years ago. And basically it kind of, I got glue here, so of course that's bothering me. It's kind of evolved from the different bases that I've used. So I've kind of stuck to this one, and it seems to work really well. So again, these are just the little coasters, plastic mesh, and you can get them already cut out, and this is the size I use. You can cut your own size if you want, but this is just really handy. I cut out 2 pieces of felt, and I just glue, move this out of the way here, get my glue stick in there. I will glue this like a little sandwich, okay? I'm gonna put my little coaster right here. And if you didn't have this and wanted to maybe use like a piece of cardboard, that would work too. It would be, you just need a stiffer structure, and that's what this helps create. And then I'm just going to put some glue on top and then put my felt on top. Now, the reason why I'm using the colored felt is that if there's any gaps of us putting this on, and I know this is going to be harder to see, so I'm going to try to like focus into this for you because it's black on black. But the reason why I use the black felt, because I've tried with the white felt, and you can always see little pieces of white through it. So it's just good to have the same color felt that you use for your center. You could use, they have navy, they have red, they have like a brown color. So this is just what I like to do. Okay, so the next thing is I take a 22 gauge wire. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to take a pair of sharp scissors, and I am just simply going to poke a hole through this on 2 sides. And then you're just going to run your wire through that. Take the other side and go through the other side. So what this does, this creates how we are going to attach our center to our flower, okay? So now let's get started on the middle. Now, I think getting it started is probably the hardest step, and you need some patience, and that's okay. So you're just going to take your end of your roping, and you're going to start in the middle, okay? Okay. I like to kind of go over the part where I cut. And you're just going to kind of hold it there. The key to this is getting it started. So I'm just going to hold it here, and I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, so we've got the center started. So all you're going to do is you're going to just keep adding little steps or little things of glue, and it's just going to take some time and some patience, and you're just going to wrap it, okay? And I'm just going to keep doing this process all the way until I get to the end, until I feel like I have a nice circular center for this flower. I do like the Gorilla glue sticks. I do have them in my Amazon shop. And I like how they kind of keep things together in different weather conditions. Okay, so I'm already getting to the end. I need to make sure that all of this is covered. So I'm just putting glue on the rope itself because we've pretty much ran out of the surface that we had. Oops, need some more glue. So you're just gonna kind of, at this point, it's gonna be more on the rope and the edge. So it does get a little bit bigger. And the key is just holding it together, making sure that it all adheres together. Oops. All right, so I'm going to just add a little bit more. I got some there, so this is going to go underneath. And just at the right spot, I need to go under. So I'm just going to hold this together. And then for the end, I put a little bit of glue underneath here. I put it right there. And then I take a little bit of felt. You could leave it like this, but I always like to add this little extra measure here. I just take a piece of scrap felt. Got glue all over my fingers now. And I'm just going to put glue on this felt. And this will help hold it down. So when you're done, you can do one of two things. So when you're done, you can just take a lint brush and try to get off any of the lint that might still be on the middle because it's a dark color, so it's going to show a little bit. And then what I like to do is I like to get my Sharpie, and if it's the black and if there's any glue showing, I can go through and use my black Sharpie to cover any of the spots. That's what I like about the black center. So let's put this together now. Isn't that pretty? I love just to look at it when it's just done and we're about ready to put it all together. I'm going to take my center that we just made, and I'm going to take the wires and we're just going to run it through like so. This is probably one of my best selling wreaths. It's very popular. I know a lot of people like to make them and sell them, and they do a really good job with it. It's a great size. Like I said, the 10-inch wreath frame is making a comeback, and Trendy Tree and the Wreath Shop will have it soon. And I just cut these edges. Let me just do this a couple more times. And I just stick them right back into the wreath form here. And then I just take a piece of felt. I cut it out the size of the wreath, and I then connect it with the zip ties. And then you're just going to hang your wreath from the wreath frame itself. So let's turn it back over. This is just like one of my favorites. I just think this is timeless. It's really any season. The black and white check is so popular. It's been popular for a few years now, and I just love the way it looks. I have a lot of buffalo check in my house. If you made it this far, number one, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Your time is valuable, and I appreciate that you choose to watch Julie's Wreath Boutique. Number two, make sure you follow me on social media. Make sure to like this video. Give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe so you'll know what I'm releasing and you can learn new things. Number three, go to my social media and like it. Go to Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest and follow me there as well. And number four, I do have a Facebook group. It's called Wreath Creators and More. I would love to have you join. Make sure you go and click the link in the description box below. Make sure that you have a wonderful day, and I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you made it this far, please let me know in the comments what your favorite flower is, okay? I love roses. I love sunflowers, of course, but let me know what your favorite flower is, and let me know what you would like to see on Julie's Wreath Boutique in the future. Until next time, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.